He lay motionless, a pale statue against the stark white sheets. Each breath, shallow and measured, barely disturbed the stillness of the room. Light filtered through the blinds, painting thin stripes across the bed, across his face, frozen in an expression of unsettling serenity. Time, it seemed, held its breath, afraid to disturb the fragile equilibrium.
His fingers, long and delicate, rested on the rough cotton blanket. They didn't twitch, didn't clutch, didn't reach for anything beyond the confines of his silent world. A single fly, drawn by the stillness, buzzed lazily against the windowpane, a jarring counterpoint to the man's profound immobility. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of antiseptic, and a silence that felt eternal.
Voices, hushed and urgent, filtered in from beyond the periphery of his awareness. They swirled around him, a dissonant chorus of concern and confusion. He felt the pressure of their gazes, the weight of their expectations, but none of it penetrated the wall of his slumber.
They spoke of tests, of anomalies, of mysteries they couldn't unravel.
Their frustration was a tangible presence, a buzzing undercurrent to the steady beep of machines. They prodded, they analyzed, they conferred in hushed tones, but he remained unresponsive, adrift in a sea of his own making. Their world, with its urgency and its noise, was not his own. He was adrift in a silent, timeless void, untouched by their anxieties.
Outside, the city throbbed with a life he couldn't touch. The streets were alive with a pulse that seemed to beat in time with the heart of the metropolis itself. Every corner, every alleyway, every towering skyscraper was a testament to the relentless energy that defined this urban jungle. The cacophony of car horns, the rumble of subways, the distant wail of sirens, all of it filtered through the hospital window, a muted symphony of urban chaos. It was a constant reminder of the world outside, a world that continued to move and evolve, indifferent to his isolation. The sounds were both a comfort and a torment, a reminder of life's unyielding march forward. It was a world of constant motion, of ceaseless striving, a stark contrast to the stillness he inhabited. The city never paused, never took a breath, always pushing forward, always reaching for something just out of grasp. The hustle and bustle were a stark reminder of the life he once knew, a life now seemingly out of reach.
He imagined the press of bodies on crowded sidewalks, the cacophony of conversations, the endless pursuit of ambitions big and small, each person, a story, a dream, a goal, all intertwined in the grand tapestry of the city. The energy was palpable, a living, breathing entity that thrived on the collective aspirations of its inhabitants. He pictured the sun setting over the cityscape, painting the buildings in hues of orange and gold, a fleeting moment of beauty in the relentless churn of city life. The sunset was a daily spectacle, a brief pause in the city's frenetic pace, a reminder of the natural world's enduring presence amidst the concrete and steel. But these were just fleeting images, glimpses into a world that felt impossibly distant. The city, with all its vibrancy and vigor, was a universe away, a place he could observe but never truly touch. It was a bittersweet reality, a reminder of the life that continued beyond the walls of his confinement, a life that was both tantalizingly close and heartbreakingly out of reach.
His dreams were a desolate landscape of frozen lakes and snow-laden trees.
A crow circled endlessly above, its harsh cry the only sound in the vast emptiness.
He wandered through this barren terrain, his footsteps leaving no trace on the pristine snow. A bone-chilling wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it the faint scent of something lost, something irretrievable.
I was adrift in a sea of white, the silence pressing in on me from all sides.
He yearned for a burst of color, a sound that wasn't the mournful cry of the crow, but his world remained stubbornly monochrome, stubbornly silent. It was a reflection of his own inner landscape, a place of profound isolation and quiet despair. Then one cold day, a figure appeared on the horizon of his dreams. Tall and slender, shrouded in mist, it moved with an ethereal and otherworldly grace.
I couldn't make out its features, but I felt a glimmer of hope, a flicker of warmth in the desolate landscape of my mind.
The figure didn't speak, but its mere presence alone was enough to disrupt the oppressive silence.
I found myself drawn to it, my footsteps finally leaving imprints in the pristine, untouched snow.
As he moved closer, the figure extended a hand, its gesture an invitation, a silent promise. For the first time since his descent into this silent world, he felt a stirring within him, a faint echo of something long forgotten. The doctors noticed a change, a subtle shift in his expression, a flicker of something akin to awareness in the depths of his unseeing eyes. It was a moment they had been waiting for, a sign that perhaps, just perhaps, there was still a connection to the world around him. The room, usually filled with the sterile scent of antiseptic and the hum of machines, seemed to hold its breath.
Look, there's a slight increase in brain activity. It's not much, but it's more than we've seen in weeks. This could be the breakthrough we've been hoping for.
Yes, it's a small sign, but it holds promise. Every little bit counts. We need to monitor this closely and see if there's a pattern. Maybe this is the beginning of his recovery.
They spoke in hushed tones, their voices laced with a cautious optimism. The machines, ever vigilant, recorded a slight increase in brain activity, a blip on the screen that held the promise of something more. It was a delicate balance between hope and reality, a dance they had performed many times before. Each blip, each flicker was a step forward, a step towards the light.
The fly, persistent in its buzzing, landed on the edge of the bed. I didn't swat it away, didn't flinch at its touch. It was a reminder of the world outside, a world that continued to turn, to move, to live. In that moment, the fly was a symbol of life, of persistence, of hope.
It was a small sign, easily missed, but for those who had been watching, waiting, hoping, it was a beacon in the darkness, a glimmer of hope that pierced through the uncertainty, a light that guided them forward. In the vast expanse of the unknown, this tiny flicker was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a chance for light to break through. The path to awakening was long and arduous, they knew that. Each step forward felt like a battle against the shadows that clung to their heels, whispering doubts and fears. The journey was not just a physical one, but a mental and emotional odyssey that tested their resolve at every turn. There would be setbacks, moments of despair, times when the darkness threatened to swallow him whole. In those moments, the weight of the world seemed unbearable, and the temptation to give up was strong. Yet even in the darkest hours, there was a flicker of resilience, a whisper of hope that refused to be silenced.
But the glimmer of hope remained, a tiny ember refusing to be extinguished. It was a reminder that even the smallest light could pierce through the thickest darkness. This ember was a symbol of the inner strength that lay dormant, waiting for the right moment to ignite into a blazing fire of determination.
And somewhere, deep within the labyrinth of his mind, a seed had been planted, a seed that held the promise of spring, the promise of dawn. This seed represented new beginnings, a chance to rise from the ashes of past failures and grow into something stronger, more resilient. It was a beacon of potential, a testament to the power of hope and perseverance.
It was a journey that would demand every ounce of his strength, every fragment of his being. The path was steep and fraught with challenges, but each obstacle was an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become more than he ever thought possible. The climb was not just about reaching the summit, but about the transformation that occurred along the way. But they would be there, these silent witnesses to his struggle, ready to guide him, to encourage him, to remind him that even in the deepest darkness, the human spirit had an uncanny ability to find its way back to the light. These companions, whether friends, family, or mentors, were the pillars of support that made the journey bearable. They were the voices of reason, the hands that lifted him when he stumbled, and the hearts that beat in unison with his own.
I was not alone. I would never be alone. In the quiet moments of reflection, I realized that my journey was intertwined with the journeys of others. We were all connected by the threads of our experiences, our hopes, and our dreams. Together we would face the dawn, ready to embrace the promise of a new day.